Welcome back to the channel. This is Football Temple brought to you by Asisat Studios. We continue our update on the Women African Cup of Nations 2024 taking place in Morocco. The Super Falcons of Nigeria became the first team to qualify for the quarterfinals of the ongoing competition. But is that the manner a Nigerian women national team should play? Joining me to look at Super Falcons' second game against Botswana is the Bishop himself, looking all Nigerian this morning. Also, we are through to the quarterfinal, thank God. First hurdle to Mission X, of course, Killed, which is qualifying from the group stage. 1-0 against a Botswana side that we beat 2-0 the last time we met at this same stage of the competition, and now winning 1-0. First assessment of that game before we break down what happened last night in Morocco.
For me, I think it was a poor outing by the girls. Very poor. For a neutral, you'd have slept off. The reason I trailed that game to the end was because I'm Nigerian. I was just like trying to push them through the line. But again, it just tells the whole story that I don't think he listened to us. Same lineup, same attitude, same style of play. And again, it showed. For a Botswana team, you beat 2-0 last time out, and you were totally dominant in the last time. That was last time in Morocco. You scaled through, and you allowing the manager of the team, that is the coach, to say that they deserve something from that game. And I totally agree with him because they defended well. They kept us at bay.
They had a game plan.
Exactly. Kept us at bay. We could barely break into the defense. And for crying out loud again, you're making the same changes at halftime because it was the same problem we saw before in the first game. So are you adamant or are you stubborn? Are you trying to tell him? Because I listened to him before the game and he kept on saying that every player in that team came in based on merit and that he's not going to change his style. If he's making changes to improve the team, everybody deserves their place. I agree. But you have to play your first team first. But I mean, even if you have played the best team and we're like 3-4-0, then you could bring them in to give them a run out. But for me, I'm totally disappointed watching that game. And I think every Nigerian fan who were believing in Mission X, after watching that game, will be asked, there's a question mark on whether that's possible at the end of the day.
Well, whether the Mission X is possible, it's $1 million question to ask. Remember, the price tag for the Women African Cup of Nations, it's $1 million. Aside winning Mission X, the Super Falcons will be aiming to take home that particular amount of money. Now, let's look at the team itself. Chinwendu Ezo came off the bench, who scored the winning goal for Nigeria at the tail end of that game. But let's look at the lineup again. Like you rightly mentioned, there was problem in the first game when we played against Tunisia. We saw it was evident. Despite the fact that we led 2-0 at halftime through Rinzola Babajide. And of course, talking about Asisat Oshoala,
absolutely,
the coach made changes. But to our surprise, he retained the same starting lineup that started the game against Tunisia for the game against Botswana. The first thing that came to my head, did he not watch the second half of the Tunisia game?
No.
Or it is because I'm struggling to understand what led to Madugu's, technical thinking or tactical thinking rather, or tactical genius to say these are the same players that played the first game that made us almost sleep in the first half to start the second game against Botswana. What led to that tactical thinking?
First of all, I think let me wow you. When I first saw the lineup, I thought it was a lie. I was like, "This is fake."
Maybe they dropped the graphic designer mistakenly dropped the same lineup.
That was why I felt for like 5 minutes until somebody else repeated the same lineup. I was like, "Was this guy not watching the game we watched against Tunisia? Why going with the same lineup?" The girls were leggy, they were jaded, they looked like they couldn't run. Rajide is a very technical player, but she doesn't have the speed, the legs to move quickly. Asisat Oshoala is past, her best, She can get you goals. She's got the footballing brain, but her legs can't take her. When I saw the lineup, I was like, are you sure this Madugu watched that game? Because at the end of the day, he clearly showed our deficiency. There was a problem, he fixed it at halftime. Became back, they didn't score goals like they did in the first half. But I thought you would have kept on rebuilding on what you did in the second half. But you went back to the same problem that you tried to solve in the first game, and it was evident. We played a better football again this game, despite it was too poor in the second half. So for me, I think I was quite disappointed with him. I think maybe he just want to be stubborn because like I said, I'm one of those who like to listen to coaches when they are being asked about their lineup, and he was adamant. He was defiant. He was like, no, I am the coach. I'll make my decision. And I felt that was one of the reasons why he wanted to prove to people that, you think I made a mistake, but it's not a mistake. These girls can prove me wrong. So he was trying to give them a second chance to say, come on, help me out here.
And then at halftime, he made 3 changes.
Imagine, same changes again.
Now, let's look up. So let me ask you this question. Is there a lack of talent in the Super Falcons? Because let's be honest with ourselves. Rasheedat Ajibade has been terrible
Absolutely.
at this tournament.
Shockingly.
I don't know why. This is not the level of Rasheedat Ajibade. She has been extremely poor. You know, giving her the player of the match yesterday makes a mockery of the CAF technical team who are deciding it. In fact, with my 2 eyes, if I watch 5 minutes, I will know the player of the match. And it was nowhere near Rasheedat Ajibade. I don't know if it's a popularity contest, but it was not Rasheedat Ajibade. Tony Payne was terrible.
Disastrous.
Deborah Abiodun looks like she's past what is supposed to be her prime.
And she's supposed to be in her prime.
And supposed to be in her prime. Because, to be honest, I watched 2 games of Abiodun and it's been 2 poor games.
The worst I've seen in a very long
time. And sorry to say, the worst stupid yellow card.
Absolutely. Like you did say, let be realistic. Abiodun, we know her for her finesse. I think maybe it's getting into her head.
And then you put, just to add it, what is Uchebe doing on the bench?
Your best, most creative player.
But let's talk about the players.
Let's start off with the player in the picture play. Let's start from Deborah Abiodun. Come on, man. I think it's getting into her head. She's now trying to touch the ball, 1 touch too many, trying to do the Zidane, trying to drop the ball. So many touches. We need to know as a midfielder who moves the ball quickly.
Then nickname her Kante. Show us what N'Golo Kante does.
All of a sudden, she now wants to be, Pele. Move this ball quickly. Your job is to stop the attack, and move the ball quickly. It's getting into her head. I hope somebody's talking to her. Come on, like I said, they are leggy. They couldn't string 1, 2, 3 passes against Tunisia. They imagine the Botswana team were well set up. Like they packed 2 buses from the words of Brendan Rodgers. And we couldn't break them down. So for me, it still boils down to the technical. I don't know what he was thinking. Again, I go back to that lineup. What was he thinking? Because the players, they were awful. Rasheedat Ajibade, to me, wasn't the player of the match. I can barely... Ashley Pumphrey was either Ashley Pumphrey or even Esther Okoronkwo, because the Maccabi Esther Okoronkwo game, she even had an assist in that game, and she was and they had the something where they have better players and the people started the game. If one, like I said, I don't know what they were thinking, but they've given it to her. Kudos to her, but come on. Like you said, it seems to be that all the whole players have dropped par. The only player who seems to be playing her best football is Ashley Pumphrey, and she was just returning after a 2-year hiatus, after her fracas. You know what happened behind the scene. Just returning back, and she looks like the only player who's ready to play. If you look at the midfield, you have a midfield of Alimatu in their experience. Deborah Abiodun, and of course, I'm trying to remember the last person again. These people are, apart from Abiodun, who is young, they are non-campaigners. They should be bossing the midfield, but they can't even create chances. They leave the work for the wingers, and come on, man. Like I said, I don't know what happened to the drop in quality. I watched them in Abiodun; they were not this bad against Cameroon. I watched them against Portugal; they were not this bad.
But this is a terrible team.
That boils down back. Like I said, I don't want to go back to the selection of players who were dropped. You know what? I was waxing lyrical about the players that were dropped. They said, no, you can't take in 34 players. Uche Nakano, Monday Gift. There's a certain midfielder again that I think should be in this team that is not here. I don't remember her name. And the young girl from the United States who's scoring goals, reckless abandon. And all of a sudden, we're having a Choma Okafor who hasn't barely kicked a ball.
And she has not even come off the bench
at all. So why was she in the team if she can't help the team? So for me, the quality in the team is not. This not again. And maybe the fans will help us. I love. Let's see the fans people. I don't think this is the best Super Falcons team would have taken to this WAFCON. Looking at the form of our players in Europe and the world at large, there were far better players to be in this competition, but we stick to these players, and it's now showing why I was crying blue blood that these players are not good enough.
Last game against Algeria, although we are qualified to the quarterfinal, we now need to ensure we top the group to possibly avoid a team like maybe Morocco or Zambia.
Yeah. Man, in that way you play one of them. So it's football. You have to. The rule is you have to beat what's said before you. Whether you play Morocco or you play Zambia, these guys are 2 technical teams. For Zambia, they've got 2 strikers in Banda and Kundenaji, who is former most expensive player up until Chelsea bought a defender. And then you have for Morocco, you have Chesney Chabak. 4 goals already in this competition.
Fantastic.
The first hat-trick in the competition. We saw last season the most valuable player of the WAFCON last time out. And you've got Gerardine, you've got Tagnot. They have a very complete team. Exactly.
Fantastic player.
Emarichi, a fantastic goalkeeper, even though this WAFCON have been terrible. She's been terrible at this WAFCON. Exactly. So at the end of the day, to me, you have to beat us 7-4. So for me, it's about proving us wrong. What we saw in Botswana is an eyesore. It's unacceptable. It is terrible. It's a no-no for a Nigerian team who is 9-time champions after 12. So the Algeria game is to prove beyond reasonable doubt that these girls can play, that these girls can do what they need to and win. And win comfortably. Like you did say, before we look at it, I know Algeria is having issues now with CAF. CAF is investigating the fact that they're trying to cover up Morocco, bringing politics into the game. They may be thrown out for what we're hearing. If they're found guilty, CAF said they won't make another further statement after investigation. But if we're going to play that game, I think the guys need to come out and, create a marker, send a message to anybody we're playing. Because if we don't do that, see, if I'm a coach of Zambia or Morocco watching Nigeria play yesterday,
I'll be happy.
I'm licking my lips. It's doable.
It's not. It's not. It will not become mission X impossible.
Exactly.
X impossible.
But when Morocco are playing, when Zambia are playing with the strikers,
More
scoring goals,
technical, moving the ball faster.
I tell you, if they watch that game
chances,
again,
scoring goals.
if they,
And we do know that one of the weaknesses of Chiamaka Nnadozie is area balls.
absolutely, she will learn. She's a young lad. She will learn, but she's improving every day. And you know the strength of Zambia is the area balls, Barbara and Gunanaji. So we'll wait and see. Like I said, anybody watching that game yesterday will be licking their lips and saying, "Wow, if Nigeria are playing next, then they're not the powerhouse anymore." Before we're untouchable. Where there was a gulf in quality. Nigeria is just a stone throw away from us.
Also, one last word: Asisat Oshoala should seriously start at this WAFCON.
Nah, she's done. She's done. I know people will come for me. Please do. That's why I love the job I do. You know, my opinion may divide opinions, but be sincere. She's been absolutely non-existent. Apart from the goal she scored, which hit her back in the first game.
She can't be like saying, "You're dasher." Now, lucky
she has done absolutely nothing. No, I was talking about her form coming to the WAFCON. I said she scored no goal in 11 games for her team in the WSL. She's been poor. Even the commentator said she's coming to a very poor form. And I think it's even worse right now with the Super Falcons because if she was contributing, like we saw Giroud in the 20, digress a bit in the World Cup for France, always contributing, making assists, fine. But she's more like a passenger. I think we need to look her in the eye and say, thank you very much for what you've done for Nigerian football. But at this point, you need to lead from the bench and give somebody else a chance to play.
Well, she needs to lead from the bench and give somebody else a chance to play in the Super Falcons. Nigeria have 2 maximum wins from 2 games. Of course, are the only team so far at the Women African Cup of Nations to do so. The Falcons are through to the quarterfinals where they will now wait who they will be facing in the next round. It could be Morocco, it could be Zambia. Either of these 2, it will be a tough fixture for Nigeria. I hope we avoid any of the 2. I pray maybe we'll get a Ghana or somebody more lighter in the next round of the Women African Competitions. Were you impressed with what you saw against Botswana? What should Justin Madugu do next in the final game against Algeria? Should that game take place? Of course, already Deborah Abiodun is out of that game because of suspension for picking 2 stupid yellow cards in the game, in back-to-back games at the Women African Cup of Nations. So far, is Mission X still possible, or it will soon be Mission Impossible? Football Temple, brought to you by Asisat Studios.